Welcome, dear listener. You are safe here. This is a place of quiet stories and gentle journeys, a space where the world slows down and your breath can soften. If this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe and stay with us. Each night, a new story will be waiting for you, ready to carry you into rest. For now, allow yourself to let go of the day. There is nothing you need to do and nowhere you need to go. Find a comfortable position. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breath become slow and easy. Tonight, we will travel together across time and continents, following something small and warm, a simple cup of tea. You will drift through misty mountains, quiet roads, distant lands, and peaceful rooms, guided by stories that were never meant to hurry. This is not a lesson. This is a gentle dream. Close your eyes if you wish. Breathe slowly, and let our journey begin. How Tea Traveled the World. Part 1. The First Cup. You are safe here. The day is complete. There is nowhere you need to go. Your body can rest. Your thoughts can soften. And if your eyes wish to close, you may let them. Tonight, I invite you into a quiet journey, not across loud cities or crowded streets, but along gentle paths of time. We are going to follow something small, something warm, something simple, a cup of tea. In your hands, it feels ordinary, a familiar ritual, a pause between moments. But this small cup carries a long story, a story that began in misty mountains among quiet leaves and drifting clouds. Imagine standing on a high mountain ridge in ancient China. The air is cool and clean. Fog moves slowly between trees. Everything feels softened by distance and time. Wild tea plants grow here, their leaves dark and glossy. They sway gently in the breeze, as if breathing with the mountain. Long ago, monks walked these paths. They moved slowly, their robes brushing the earth. They searched not for wealth, but for clarity. One of them pauses. He gathers a few leaves and places them in warm water. Steam rises. A scent unfolds. Earth, rain, green life. He drinks. And in that quiet moment, tea is born not as a product, but as a feeling. A pause, a breath, a return to stillness. Tea was never meant to hurry. It was meant to slow the world. From those mountains, tea began to move. Not quickly, not loudly. It traveled in small bundles, in the pockets of travelers, in the cups of monks, in the hearts of those who learned that warmth could be shared. Everywhere it went, it carried the same message. Stop, breathe, be here. Tonight, you hold that same message. As you listen, your breath may already be changing, slowing, deepening. You are walking the first steps of a very long path, a path of leaves and steam, of silence and warmth, of gentle mornings and quiet nights. This is where the journey begins, not with movement, but with stillness, not with distance, but with presence. A cup, a breath, a beginning. Part 2. The Mountains of China. The mountains remain. Long after empires rise and fall, they stay, their peaks wrapped in mist, their valleys filled with quiet rain. Tea grows here still. Leaves unfold in soft green layers, catching light through clouds. Each one carries the memory of centuries of hands that touched, gathered, and brewed. In ancient China, tea was not simply a drink, it was a companion. Farmers paused beneath trees. Scholars set aside their brushes. Travelers warmed their hands. A kettle over fire, steam in the air, time slowing. Tea became part of rhythm. Morning light, evening calm, a bridge between effort and rest. In mountain temples, monks brewed tea in silence. They drank not for taste, but for clarity. Each sip was a return to breath. Each pause, a return to the present. Outside, rain tapped on leaves. Wind moved through bamboo. Inside, a single cup rested between two hands. Tea taught patience. Leaves must wait. Water must warm. The moment must arrive. You cannot rush tea. It will not follow you. You must meet it. That is why tea traveled. Not because people demanded it, but because they recognized in it a mirror of something they had lost. In every place it reached, tea whispered the same thing. You do not need to hurry. The world will wait. And as tea prepared to leave the mountains, it carried with it the calm of clouds, the silence of monks, and the gentle memory of stillness. It began to move along narrow paths, across valleys, toward distant lands. Slowly, like breath, like night drifting into sleep. And as you rest now, you are already walking with it, one quiet step at a time. Part 3. Along the Silk Roads. Tea did not rush into the world. It followed the pace of people and animals, of footsteps and hooves, of wind and weather. It left the mountains in small bundles, tied with string, carried on the backs of travelers who moved slowly across wide lands. The Silk Roads were not a single path. They were many quiet trails stretching across deserts, valleys, and high passes. Caravans moved like drifting lines across the earth. Camels walked in steady rhythm. Bells chimed softly in the dry air. Sand shifted under each step. In these long journeys, tea became comfort. At night, travelers gathered around small fires. The sky opened wide above them, filled with stars. Cold crept in from every direction. Hands reached for warmth. Someone poured hot water over leaves. Steam rose. The world softened. In that circle of light, stories were told. Languages mixed. Strangers became companions. Tea did not belong to one culture anymore. It became a shared pause between distant worlds. Across mountains and deserts, tea listened. It absorbed accents and customs. It learned new hands, new kettles, new ways of waiting. In Persia, it met spices. In Central Asia, it met wind. In distant towns, it met curiosity. Wherever it arrived, tea brought the same quiet invitation. Sit, breathe, stay for a moment. It asked nothing in return. Caravans continued. Seasons changed. Empires shifted. But tea remained gentle. It never announced itself. It simply appeared, cup by cup, in moments of rest. Even now, as you lie still, you follow that same rhythm. A slow crossing, a soft journey. One breath carrying you forward, one pause allowing you to remain. Tea moves the way sleep does, not in leaps, not in noise, but in gradual surrender. And so it continued, crossing into new lands, where stillness would learn new shapes. Part 4. Japan and the Art of Stillness. When tea reached Japan, it found a home that listened deeply. Here, mountains were folded in green layers. Rain fell often. Gardens were shaped with care. Silence was not empty, it was full. Monks carried tea across the sea. They brought leaves and bowls, but also a way of seeing. In temples, tea became a practice, not a habit, not a refreshment, a moment of awareness. Water was warmed slowly. Bowls were chosen with intention. Hands moved with grace. Each gesture mattered. Each pause had meaning. Tea was no longer only something to drink. It became a way to arrive. In small rooms, people knelt on tatami mats. Light filtered through paper walls. Outside, wind touched bamboo. Inside, a single bowl passed from hand to hand. No one hurried. No one spoke more than needed. The world narrowed to breath, warmth, and presence. This was not about perfection. It was about attention. about being fully where you are. Tea taught that nothing ordinary is small, that even lifting a cup can be a meditation, that every moment can be entered gently. In Japan, tea became a mirror. It reflected the beauty of imperfection, the grace of quiet, the comfort of simplicity. And wherever this spirit traveled, it carried the same message. Slow enough to notice, and the world will open. As you listen now, your body may be learning the same lesson. Your breath becomes softer. Your thoughts loosen their grip. You do not need to go anywhere. You are already here, and here is enough. Part 7. Tea in the Modern World. Today, tea lives everywhere. It waits on kitchen shelves, in small cafes, in office drawers, in travel bags. It no longer feels rare or distant, and yet its meaning remains unchanged. In a world that moves quickly, tea still asks us to pause. Screens glow late into the night. Messages arrive without rest. Days blur into endless lists of tasks. But somewhere between meetings and mornings, someone places leaves into water. Steam rises, and a small moment opens. Even now, tea refuses to hurry. It teaches the hand to wait, the breath to slow, the mind to soften. It becomes a bridge between effort and rest, between noise and quiet, between doing and being. A single cup can still feel like a doorway back to yourself. You do not drink tea only for taste. You drink it for permission. Permission to pause, to breathe, to exist without demand. In every culture it touched, tea adapted. It learned new names, new cups, new customs. But its heart remained the same: warmth, presence, stillness. Even now, tea is traveling. Not on caravans, not on ships, but in moments. From one hand to another, from one evening to the next, from one breath to the next. It moves quietly, just as it always has. Part 8. The cup in your hands. And now, the journey returns to you. Not to distant mountains or ancient roads, but to this moment, to your breath, to your body, to the quiet space where you rest. Somewhere, a cup exists, perhaps near you, perhaps only in memory. It holds more than liquid. It holds a story of clouds and leaves, of monks and travelers, of fires in deserts and rooms lit by lamps, of mornings and evenings across centuries. But you do not need to remember any of that. You only need to feel what tea has always offered: a pause, a gentle slowing, a reminder that you are allowed to rest. Just as water waits for leaves, just as leaves open in warmth, just as night invites sleep, you may soften, you may let go, you may drift. The journey of tea does not end. It continues quietly in kitchens, in hands, in breaths, and now in you. There is nothing more you need to follow. No road ahead, no map to read. Only this gentle stillness, only this calm, only rest. Part 9. Night tea in China. Night settles gently over the old streets. Lanterns glow in warm circles of light, reflecting on smooth stone. The air carries the scent of rain and wood smoke. Somewhere behind a wooden door, a small tea house remains open, not for crowds, but for those who walk slowly and listen. Inside, the room is quiet. A kettle rests on a low flame. Cups wait on a simple table. The walls hold the memory of many evenings, many conversations that ended in silence rather than words. Here, tea is not served quickly. It is prepared as if time itself were fragile. A hand lifts the kettle. Water pours. Leaves open. Steam rises in soft waves, like breath made visible. Outside, footsteps pass and fade. Inside, Nothing asks to be rushed. People come here not to escape the world, but to return to themselves. They sit without urgency. They watch the surface of the tea settle. They let their thoughts drift like clouds across a dark sky. In this place, night is not something to fill. It is something to inhabit. Tea becomes a companion to darkness. It does not chase it away. It warms it from within. Each sip carries a feeling of shelter, as if the world has grown smaller and kinder. You can imagine yourself here, sitting quietly, holding a cup, listening to rain touch the roof. There is nothing you must say, and nothing you must decide. Only warmth in your hands, only stillness in your chest, only night unfolding gently around you. This is how tea meets darkness, not with light, but with presence. And slowly, without effort, your breath begins to follow the same rhythm. Part 10. Tea in Korea. The calm between movements. In Korea, tea lives in the space between actions, between footsteps on wooden floors, between bow and reply, between thought and word. Mountains rise softly in the distance. Pine trees whisper in the wind. Homes open to gardens where stones and moss rest in quiet balance. Here, tea is not an event. It is a continuation of stillness. A cup is placed, and a pause follows. The moment breathes. Tea is shared slowly. Hands move with care. Each gesture carries respect, not toward ceremony, but toward the present moment. Nothing is excessive. Nothing is hurried. The room is simple. Light enters through paper windows. Outside, a bird lands on a branch. Inside, steam curls upward. This is tea as listening. Listening to the body. Listening to the room. Listening to the quiet space inside. In this calm, movement becomes gentle. Thoughts soften their edges. The world feels less demanding. Tea does not separate you from life. It teaches you how to meet it without resistance. You do not need to be elsewhere. You do not need to become anything. You are already enough. As the cup empties, nothing ends. Another pause begins. The silence remains full, and in that fullness, your mind begins to rest, just as tea rests in the cup, just as night rests on the mountains, just as breath rests within you. There is no destination, only this quiet moment, holding you exactly as you are. Part 11. Moroccan Mint Tea. In Morocco, tea arrives with warmth and welcome. The air carries sand and sun. Narrow streets open into quiet courtyards where shadows move slowly across tiled floors. Doors stand open, and voices soften in the heat of afternoon. Here, tea is an offering. A small metal pot rests above a flame. Fresh mint is gathered in generous handfuls. Sugar dissolves into amber light. The liquid is poured from high above the glass, forming a delicate ribbon of steam and sparkle. Each pour is calm and unhurried, like a quiet dance. Tea is shared in circles. It moves from hand to hand, from guest to host, from stranger to friend. It says, "You are welcome here." It says, "Stay." Outside, the world is bright and wide. Inside, time slows. Cushions hold bodies at ease. Walls protect gentle conversations. Wind carries distant calls across rooftops. Mint cools the breath. Warmth settles in the chest. In this place, tea is not only rest, it is connection. It is the space between people where nothing needs to be proven. It is the moment when travel ends and belonging begins. You can imagine sitting there, listening to the wind brush through palms, feeling glass warm in your hands. There is no schedule and no direction, only presence, only now. Tea teaches that even in heat and movement, stillness can live. that even in unfamiliar lands, calm can find you. That welcome itself is a form of rest. With each gentle sip, the world feels less distant, the heart opens, and the journey becomes lighter. Part 12. A tea house at the edge of the world. There is a place that exists only in quiet imagination, a tea house at the edge of the world. It rests where land meets sky, where paths end and the horizon begins. No map shows it, and no road leads directly there. You arrive without effort, as if you have always known the way. Inside, the air is warm and still. Light falls softly across wooden floors. A wide window opens to endless distance, sometimes mountains, sometimes sea, sometimes only clouds drifting in pale blue. Time has no weight here. It does not hurry. It does not press. A kettle waits on a small table. Leaves already rest in a bowl, as if they have been expecting you. When water touches them, they open slowly, like memories returning. Steam rises, and the room seems to breathe. Outside, the world pauses. This place is not meant for conversation. It is meant for listening. You sit. You hold a cup. Warmth reaches your palms and moves inward, spreading through your chest. Nothing follows you here. No noise, no expectation, no past. The tea house exists only for this moment. Every traveler arrives alone, and every traveler leaves lighter. You do not need to understand where you are. You only need to remain, to let the cup be full, to let the breath settle, to let the mind loosen its grip. Here, all journeys pause. Every road becomes quiet. Even thought learns to rest. And in that resting, something gentle happens. You remember how simple it is to be, how natural it is to let go, how softly the world can hold you. Part 13. Tea and Solitude. There are moments when tea is shared, and moments when it is held alone. Both carry their own quiet beauty. Solitude with a cup of tea is not loneliness. It is a gentle meeting with yourself. You sit by a window. Outside, the world continues in its own rhythm. Light moves across walls. Rain may fall. Evening may gather. Inside, there is only a chair, a cup, and your breath. Tea warms your hands. It reminds your body that it is here, that it is safe, that nothing is required of it in this moment. In solitude, tea becomes a mirror. It reflects your pace. If your thoughts rush, the steam waits. If your heart feels heavy, the warmth remains steady. Tea does not hurry you toward clarity. It simply stays. You may notice small things: the sound of liquid touching porcelain, the way light rests on the surface of the cup, the quiet movement of your own breathing. Nothing needs to be solved. Nothing needs to be understood. This is not a pause from life. It is life in its simplest form. A body resting, a mind loosening, a moment unfolding without pressure. Tea teaches that solitude can be kind, that being with yourself does not have to be sharp or demanding. It can be soft, it can be warm, it can be enough. And in that enoughness, something inside begins to settle. Part 14. The Long Return. Every journey eventually turns inward. Roads fade, landscapes blur. What remains is a feeling carried gently home. Tea has traveled mountains, deserts, oceans, and centuries. It has rested in temples and kitchens, in palaces and quiet rooms. And now it returns to the simplest place, to you. The world outside continues its movement. Cities breathe, lights change, days turn into nights. But inside, something grows quieter. You may imagine yourself walking along a path at dusk. The sky softens. Colors fade into calm. Each step becomes lighter than the one before. There is no destination ahead, only a gentle drawing inward. Tea teaches that return is not a retreat. It is a settling, a remembering of where rest begins. You do not need to carry stories with you. You do not need to hold images or facts. The journey has already given you what it was meant to give. A sense of ease, a slower breath, a softer edge to thought. Like leaves returning to water, like night returning to sky, you return to yourself. And it feels natural. Part 15. The Last Cup. Somewhere, a final cup waits. Not because the journey must end, but because rest is ready. You are here now, in this body, in this breath, in this quiet space where nothing is demanded. The cup is warm. The liquid inside is gentle. It carries no urgency. It offers no instruction. It simply is. You do not need to drink it. You only need to feel what it represents. Completion without closure. Stillness without absence. Rest without effort. Tea has never asked you to become someone else. It has never asked you to be better or faster. It has only invited you to arrive. And you have arrived. Your breath slows. Your shoulders soften. Your thoughts loosen their shape. The world does not disappear. It simply grows kind. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to sleep. The journey continues quietly, in kitchens, in hands, in cups, in evenings yet to come. But for now, there is nothing more you need to follow. Only this calm. Only this warmth. Only rest. Good night.